Interviews with Andrea, where people share stories of their life with a focus on health and wellness. This is live on Twitch. I'm doing something different. I did gaming for a year, and now I want to know about people's life and their stories. This is the first episode. I'm excited about my guest. I'm going to tell you about him. I wrote it down even though I already know a lot about him, but Todd Cameron. Todd Cameron is a karaoke and wedding DJ, an artist, a cake decorator, and crafter. He is a dad to a 19-year-old daughter and an 11-month-old son, and is married to the love of his life, Nicole. Welcome! I wish we had a studio. Let's pretend. People at home clap. We got a few viewers.
Oh,
Todd,
hey.
we do.
Whoa.
All right. And you guys can chat and interact. We may be talking and then look at chat later. I don't know. We're going to wing it.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Todd.
Hey.
Okay, so this show, I wanted to do a show about health and wellness with everyday people. So the thing I'm going to start with is, what's your current health and wellness routine? Let's start with positive now.
Right now, well, right this minute is a little bit different because I'm kind of in the middle of a project that's been taking up some of my time. But for the past several months, I've been on a better eating plan. I've gained quite a bit of weight since my son was born, and which is kind of my fallback setting is to be 20, 30 pounds overweight. And so several months ago, I started running.
Yeah. Here's a question. See, you were running before, and so you've been through this before, where you gained quite a bit of weight.
Yeah.
And then you've lost weight, and you were running a lot before.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of a struggle, and this time there was even a struggle. You had actually plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So have you been able to overcome that and continue the exercise?
Yeah, I've done this a few times where I've run quite heavily, up to like 14 clicks a day at some points.
Yeah.
And
14 kilometers a day.
That's it's been difficult because running tends to be one of those things that wears on you. So if you don't take proper time off, if you don't really watch what you're doing and take care of yourself, then small things can build up. And I ended up this past time developing a plantar fasciitis. I went to a sports physiologist and got some insoles made up. And
okay, like orthotics or just
orthotics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got some good exercises, and it hasn't bothered me in several months. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, so that some people struggle with that. Like I got up to about 8 kilometers a day running years ago, and then my knees were like, nope, that's all you can do. So that happens.
Normally, it's either something will happen to my leg or my foot, or something else will happen. I'll get into a project or something, and I won't have time for it. And then I just find if I don't do it every day or nearly every day, for after a few weeks or a month, it's really difficult to get back into. It's always harder to start
that's the
program
thing.
than it is to keep on going.
Yeah, you know what? I've had a lot of people. I was doing my stream where I was doing video games and things, right? And a lot of the people I would talk to are actually just sitting in their chairs playing video games, and but they don't want to be overweight and tired and struggling, and so it's just that starting point. Can you think of what you did mentally to help yourself just get started? Like,
I think it comes from a place of I hit a threshold where none of my clothes are fitting. I've started to buy new clothes that are now big enough for me to wear without I don't like being in tight clothing.
Yeah. And
I realized that if I don't start something, I'm gonna have to continue to keep buying bigger and bigger clothes until I'm just like so. That's
it's really just the money factor. It's like I don't want to buy. That's me. As soon as my pants were not fitting, which I ripped my pants last week, but that's not to do with that. Maybe I don't know. Anyway.
So that's where it usually starts from, and then I just have to get in. I find like a few weeks of just getting up, doing it. The first few weeks are obviously little more difficult.
So about 3 weeks. If somebody committed to 3 weeks and they're like, I'm just gonna do this every day.
Yeah.
After about 3 weeks, you feel like it kind of turns and you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like an adrenaline or endorphins. There's a truck going past my house right now. Also, that works. Can I ask you though? Weight has been a thing for you. Weight is an issue for a lot of people, and in fact, in our society, that's like one of the biggest things. One of the biggest reasons why people are going. You know, they're going online, they're looking for diet plans and different things. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show was I didn't want it to be somebody selling a product and somebody like promoting this is the way because they're going to get some kind of benefit.
We're not supposed to be selling it works? I'm sorry.
It works? Is this a new... I'm sorry. We're not selling a pyramid scheme here. We can make one up. What would be the friggin' pyramid scheme? I feel like if Jeffrey was interviewing you, this would be pretty hilarious, actually.
So the question was about being overweight and
and I want to know, can we talk about your childhood?
Yeah, of course. Just let me continue. I'll just tell the story.
You tell the story.
Yeah, and then just give me
let you do. Yeah, I'm not gonna interject. So tell me about your story with childhood, with weight and health. And
So I grew up in a small town, kind of a really big hockey town, Lake Couch in British Columbia. Lots of sports was kind of like the top hero kind of thing for male kids to do would be like to play hockey. That's where most of the self-esteem would come from, typically. Somewhat fighting and stuff, but more so hockey. And you know, I was a chubby kid. I grew up that way. I always struggled with my weight. Some kids can eat whatever they want and they just still stay slow. They have a high metabolism or whatever, and that wasn't me. And I grew up eating a lot of sugar. That was the thing back then. Like we'd have cereal for breakfast. We would have, just seemed like Cheerios with like extra sugar sprinkled on top. Like when you get to the bottom, there's like sludgy sugar at the bottom.
That's true.
And sugar throughout the day and at nighttime. And back then, it wasn't really that big of a concern. You know, it wasn't really. I remember when I was younger, and when I would wake up from a bad dream, my dad would give me a soother with honey on it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, and to this day, when I wake up from a bad dream or wake up out of sorts, I crave sugar.
Oh
still.
Wow.
So yeah, there was a point in about grade, and I was involved in hockey and different sports. Kind of like in hockey, it was like the house team or like the non-rep side of it.
Yeah.
And then played football. There's only one football team in high school, so I played in that. And
we get American viewers. Everybody here, every boy here usually plays hockey at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Whether you're good or not, you still kind of play it. And at least in these small towns, especially that are really hockey based. Yeah. And I just decided I was going to start doing some weights in my basement around grade 10. I'm going to start doing some running. And took off quite a bit of weight then, and ever since then it's kind of just been a fluctuation back and forth of like between 160 and 200 pounds, like back and forth kind of thing. And right now I'm about 175 or so, and so I'm about 10-15 pounds away from my goal weight. I'm just kind of in a holding pattern right now where I'm just working on a special project, and having a 10-month-old son doesn't really lend a lot of time, so I kind of have to pick one or the other at this point.
I was going to ask you about that too. What's interesting, as I was writing out your introduction, I was like, man, so Todd has a 19-year-old daughter who I know and love so much, and of course my best friend is your new baby.
Right.
Jack is my best friend. Just in case Tasha ever watches this, Jack, my best friend. Okay. Here, it's interesting. You raised Raven when you were quite young, and now we're talking, 2 decades later, you're raising a new baby.
Yeah.
What are some of the differences that you're experiencing?
The differences between the two are, this time I'm going into it being totally sure that I can do a decent job as a parent.
Yeah.
and that it's not as daunting a task as it seemed at the first time.
Yeah.
And
Well, you were a stay-home dad with Raven. Like you
yeah,
were,
for a lot of it, I was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a lot of it. And you actually did all the feedings and the changing, which would be
Yeah.
rare for that time. That's like
Mhm.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's becoming more common that dads are being involved.
Yeah, it's true.
So when Jack, well, actually, you're going to be, I mean, you are working as a karaoke wedding host, and that's your full-time job at night. You guys are going to have a totally different schedule in a month.
Yeah, my wife's going back to work in a month, and so I'll be doing 3 or 4 days a week. I'll be doing all the daytime child minding and feeding and recreation and everything, and then she'll be coming home in the evenings to. It works out nice that we have that option. We're not going to need daycare, but it's also difficult for Nicole, of course, to have to go back to work after having a year, where she just
I know she's
24/7. It would be hard for her, but
yeah, it will. Yeah, a year. I mean, I was lucky. I got to stay home with my kids. So I am curious though. I know that parenting in older years is becoming, not that you're old, but honestly, you just turned 45.
Yeah,
it's important to know.
Or not. I haven't turned 45 yet.
Oh no, sorry, 2 days. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, turning 45. But you're exercising and you're doing well. Like, I was thinking, if I were to have, I have different conditions, but if I were to have a child this age, the fatigue would get me. And I'm wondering if you have any of that.
No, well, I'm not. Especially the last several months, I've been exercising. When I'm exercising, I actually have more energy, which sounds counterproductive, but it's actually the way that it is. If
the way it works.
If you exercise on a regular basis, you'll have more energy rather than less energy.
Yeah,
and less lethargic. Have better sleep. I wake up more refreshed. I don't get drowsy really during the day as much now, and it's been great to
that's
experience.
Kind of awesome. I was just thinking about body image and how people have a lot of people have shame around their bodies.
Yeah.
And so there's that balance between acceptance and health.
Yeah.
If somebody is grossly overweight, it's just not healthy, and we don't really talk about that. Have you noticed, like, on a serious note, have you noticed in society, like, maybe this is a sticky topic, I'm sort of pausing here on being politically correct, but I've never looked at you and thought, oh no, you're obese, I'm worried about your heart, like maybe a couple months ago you were just getting to this point where but it was more a matter of your comfort.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't about looks or anything like that.
Right.
What do we say? Like, when people are really overweight, like, what should we do in society? If in terms of health, like, what can be...
To each other, you mean?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't think it's society's place to tell people what they should or shouldn't look like or their body size. I mean, if you're a really close friend or family member and you're genuinely concerned for someone's health, then talking to them in private, asking how you can support or to sit, to get a small group of friends together to talk to someone and say, we're worried about your health, we want you to live a long time, or is one thing. But I often had people coming up to me at my karaoke shows or whatever and like poking me in the stomach and saying, looks like marriage agrees with you, or still on the running trail, or like whatever. They make little snide comments, and for some reason they think it's okay if it's a guy, or like or that they're super perceptive that they've noticed that you've gained 30 or 40 pounds. Yeah. Like, who hasn't? Of course, I notice that every day, and I don't need someone else telling me that. And that never motivated me to become more healthy. It just created resentment inside me, and resentment never leads to positive.
No, it doesn't.
So I had to talk about that with friends and vent about it and let it go. But I also started telling people, that's not cool. It's not helpful. It's not a kind or helpful thing to point out someone's shortcomings. Yeah. And poking fun at them. I mean, of course, you're with your friends. You're gonna have little personal jokes, and you're gonna make fun of each other for the things that you do or whatever. Of course, but for people that you maybe see on a regular basis, and as a karaoke host, people
they're looking at you all the time.
They tend to think that you're like really close friends, or that you're closer than you actually
That
are.
actually is interesting, and I don't know how many people watch this, but like, okay, so I can relate to you in a way because, well, originally you trained me as a karaoke host, like a decade ago, and then I did it for 4 years straight, and then sometimes I sub for you. But it is interesting. Like, do you become like the karaoke counselor sometimes?
So somewhat. I have people tell me really overshare things. And I don't mind listening to people, but a couple minutes in between songs is not the time to tell me about your, really personal surgical procedures or what have you.
And I shouldn't laugh, but to me the laugh is like it seems really bizarre. Like, however, I have to say though, some people are very, very approachable, so it's not just a matter of you being a karaoke host.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the bartender.
Yeah.
That's a famous story that everybody knows. People go up to the bartender, and they're having a drink, and they need to share with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, actually, that was something that you and I maybe had in common is caring for people.
Yeah.
Which is part of why I want to do this too, because I want to be able to hopefully inspire people or let them know they're not alone. There's a lot of people who've struggled with weight loss and things like that. I have another question for you, because another big topic for people is healthy relationships.
Yeah.
This is something that you're very passionate about. You have a wonderful relationship right now.
Mm-hmm.
I observe you guys. You guys have little spats all the time, like little fun. They seem fun.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I might actually turn it into a big argument. I don't know how you guys do that. You guys fight about things and it's hilarious, and you just resolve them. And but maybe we'll talk about how about your love story. Yeah. How about when you met Nicole and where you were at in life?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about any of your other struggles, or like you had changed your life then.
So about 7 years ago, almost coming up, in November here, 7 years ago, I decided to get sober, and not that I was drinking every day, but when I drank, it was a problem, and it wasn't making my life any better by any means. It was, everything financially, emotionally, relationship-wise, everything was tainted by alcohol and some drug use.
Yeah.
And working in the bars just made it, and getting, cash jobs, and, it just didn't lend well to my emotional well-being or my life. So, just kind of happened to be living with a woman at the time that was in recovery, and got to know some of the people that she was hanging with, and heard a little bit about what they're doing, and ended up in recovery myself, and in and out at the start, but then once I was back in and started doing some of the work that comes with recovery, then everything started to fall into place, and
how do people transfer from? I'm going to interrupt and just interject with different things if that's okay. But how do people transfer from that camaraderie of drinking or maybe smoking with people in the bar and that social aspect to living a completely different life in many ways? Like, how was that?
Well, you just transfer the camaraderie to recovery. Like, you find people that are also in recovery. And you don't have to just be friends with people that are in recovery, but that's something that you can really bond with people over that have the same struggle as you. Yeah. And you can laugh about it. You can find common ground about it, just like you can with drugs or alcohol. But the difference is you don't need to have those. You don't need an outside substance in order to enjoy yourself.
Yeah. That's true.
So just getting back to
sorry.
That's okay. When I got to a place in my recovery work where around relationships, and
that's nice.
I got to a place where I had always realized I'd always kind of been addicted to relationships as well.
Yeah.
And to women's companionship and to love. And I got to a place in my relationship where I realized that I didn't have to, or a place in my recovery where I realized I didn't have to be with a woman. In order to be happy, I was single at the time. I was starting to find some real happiness and peace in my life and gratitude. And I asked myself, this question came over me. I was like, what happens if you never have that one person? What if you never find that, your love story? Or And the overwhelming answer came to me right away. That's fine. Like, you could still be happy. And it was just like this huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And within a week, that's when I met Nicole. It's just like I kind of let go of that. And then when you let go of something, everything tends to come towards you.
People really hold on to that. There's a lot of loneliness. I know that happens for me. We totally have a troll. Nice. Welcome. Not going to address that comment.
Okay.
But it's funny. Yeah. But anyway. So I have been in and out of that. I think a lot of people deal with not wanting to be alone. Our generation maybe more. There's that white picket fence marriage kind of fantasy concept that we were raised with. Like, you need to find one person, you need to be with them for life, and so people are like, I can't be alone, I need to find this person to grow old with. I think hopefully that's maybe changing, like where people don't feel that pressure.
Yeah, I think it is changing. Yeah, people are a lot of people are remaining single. A lot of people are remaining without, not needing to have kids.
That's more common now. Yeah, certainly in our society anyway.
Yeah, even when I was growing up, you didn't really find many people who didn't have kids, and now it's more acceptable.
What it was interesting actually. I was watching a show with, I don't know if you've heard of Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I was watching a show with him, and I had a difficult time with one of the questions that he was asked and how he answered it, and it has to do with having kids. He had said that in all statistics, it shows that, the parents being together and staying together is better for the children. And he was just adamant about this. Didn't get a lot of details on exactly why he said why. He just talks about statistics.
Yeah.
Which, we're kind of a scientific society, I guess.
Yeah.
And so when people talk about, we've measured this and we've come up with this, well, then that must be the truth. What's your idea on that, especially with your experience of being a single dad?
Yeah.
And maybe how that worked out for you and what it would have been like had you not, maybe.
Yeah.
And then your relationship now, which is quite healthy.
Yeah, I can't speak to how it would have been if we hadn't split with Raven's mom, but I'm a big proponent of, of course, do the work and try and work things out if you're committed to someone, but if it's not working out and it's become evident it's not working out, that just staying together for the sake of staying together is not healthy for kids. In my view, they end up growing up living and seeing an example of what you don't want, which is indifference and just lazy relationship work.
Yeah.
And just trying to get through another day or a month or, waiting for the kids to leave so then you can split up. It's not...
I know people who are doing that now.
I'd rather both parents would go find happiness within themselves and or with another person to actually display love to the child and to show the child what a healthy relationship looks like and what living in a loving relationship looks like.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Oh yeah, no. This guy just read what he said.
I don't know who Mark is.
We don't know who Mark is. That's well done. Todd's my best friend.
Yeah, we actually used to be in a relationship several years ago.
We actually were.
Yeah.
That's how. Yeah. So.
Now we're just best friends. So.
And now we're best friends, which is actually that's kind of a cool story because I moved in an IMO, and this isn't about me at all, but our friendship is kind of an amazing thing, and we've had ups and downs. We dated for a while. It was like on and off for 8 months or something, and we're both not at a great time in our life.
Yeah.
Like, I was dealing with severe post-traumatic stress disorder from the 2 car accidents.
Yeah.
I just moved to Nanaimo. I didn't really have any friends, so I was just like clinging to whatever I could get.
Totally. Yeah.
Which, that sounds bad.
Yeah.
So I just went, oh, well, Todd would take me, so I'll
Yeah.
take him. No. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can mock me if you want at any time in this. But with that said, there was some kind of friendship there that, like, we couldn't get rid of that friendship. There was like a bond that was awesome, and we have done things that some people might not forgive.
Yeah.
Both of us, and we managed to find a way to forgive that and build a really strong friendship.
Yeah, and become friends, become family.
Family,
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, now and actually,
No, you're great friends with Nicole, and
yeah,
she's great friends with your kids, and
exactly.
And we all just like hang out at
yeah.
Christmas time, and all the holidays and birthdays. We're always hanging out. So.
Exactly. Speaking of that, this is my goat that Todd made me many years ago for Christmas. It lives in a house. It's gained a little weight. I think I had trouble getting it out there. Todd is really good at arts and crafts and things. So he made this a long time ago. I have some pictures. You should be on the Food Network. I'm gonna see if I can pull up one of the things. How do you make something like that?
I just basically taught myself how to make cakes. I used to be really into cake shows on TV.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different creative outlets, and I tend to do them for a while, and then I kind of let them go, and I try something new. And I had this idea of maybe trying one of the cake shows just by teaching myself how to do caking. So
you should be on a cake show. Hey, anybody who watches this, Todd needs to be on the cake show.
Mark, as it were. No.
Mark, his friend Mark.
If you have any cake.
If you have any cake connections, we're looking for cake connections today.
But I just started a couple years ago. I actually made the first real cake I made was our wedding cake for our Back to the Future wedding, which I made the hull from the movie where the DeLorean drives past.
I have that picture. You talk about your cakes, and I'm gonna find it.
And so that was the first one. Started set up a little business and just started doing taking orders off Facebook, and it was a lot of fun. I just taught myself how to do the different techniques and such, but in the end, it just takes a lot of time, which I don't have, having a 10-month-old son. It's also very messy, and there's
there it is.
Yeah.
There's the
clock tower.
The clock tower.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
And so I did that for about a year or so. And now I'm just kind of doing it for friends and family, and I'll be doing it for Jack's first birthday, and I have all the skills now to do it. And if I ever get a chance to do it, like go on a cake show or something, that'd be fun too. But it's
cake
it's
show. Cake. I want to know about actually when you and Nicole met. It was to do with crafting.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Halloween picture. Or maybe start with, or where do you want to? How do you want to explain how you guys met?
She came into the Oxy on Halloween. We both are huge lovers of Halloween, and she was dressed as a like movie quality zombie, and I was dressed as Ace Ventura in the scene where he's in the insane asylum. So he's got the ballet, the tutu on.
Yeah.
And I got a picture of her. She had like dripping neck blood, and I thought it was really cool. And I ended up putting one of these pictures on Facebook, and she requested a tag when she saw it, and on the Oxy Pub site. And I didn't see that for a few months.
Yeah.
But when I saw it, I eventually tagged her, and we started a conversation that revolved around our different love of crafting and little projects and stuff. So we connected in that way, and we had a 1 week. We decided to have a 1 week craft anniversary.
Yeah.
After the 1 week anniversary, after we started talking, to kind of have a little competition to see who could craft something for each other. Then we did a 2 week, then a 3 week craft anniversary.
Yeah.
Then we moved into a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, and then we started amassing far too many
crafting items.
So now
did you keep them all?
Oh yeah, they're all.
Oh man.
They're all up in our bedroom. So now we are down to one per year because
that's too many.
That's too many. Yeah.
That's too many.
Yeah. So we take a personal joke from the previous year, each of us, and we turn into a physical thing that we make for each other, and we present it. We go out for dinner or whatever, and we.
See, that's the thing about relationships. I mean, yours is so unique in that way, though. If you find somebody who wants to do a certain activity with you,
yeah,
I think that must be a key in a good relationship.
Yeah.
And for you guys, that's a huge part of your life, like crafting or art or
costumes and Halloween stuff
and Halloween.
Yeah, good.
This picture that I've pulled up is absolutely beautiful. You guys had a Back to the Future themed wedding.
Yeah.
Which is insanity to many that you managed to pull this off. And it wasn't just that you just did, we just want a theme. No, this was an incredible story. It's been on the news. I almost feel like I should pull up that story and play it. I wonder if we could. Do you know? I can find it online real quick and put it on display.
Sure.
But let's see if we can find that story because.
It seems like most people do a lot of cosplay and stuff, and they'll go to these Comic Cons or we get photo shoots and stuff like it. But it tends to be that when we do cosplay, we make the news at some point.
Yeah, when you do cosplay, you make the news.
Yeah.
It's so.
Finally this evening, Adam finds out how a creative couple went back to the future to become husband and wife on tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
If we go back to the beginning of this love story, instead of beating hearts, you'll find gushing blood.
And I had just put a vial of blood in my mouth, so when I turned around, it just spat out.
Nicole was celebrating Halloween as a zombie.
And I'm not sure what she looks like underneath that, but I'm kind of interested in what's going on here.
Todd was dressed as Ace Ventura, pet detective.
I looked into his eyes, and he could appreciate my makeup and saw beneath that.
They started talking online and connected over a common passion for crafting.
And she challenged me to a craft off.
They each created something inspired by their inside jokes and presented them on their first date.
Craftiversary is what we called it.
With every craft, every costume, they grew closer and closer. And then there was the day she surprised him by making this.
He always told me that as a child, he always wanted to glue wings onto a squirrel and have it fly.
First time I've ever rolled on the ground laughing at anything.
He actually told me that he loved me that night.
She did too.
Yeah.
They loved each other more than all of their favorite pop culture couples combined. So when they decided to celebrate Back to the Future Day at Universal Studios, Todd crafted the movie's iconic DeLorean to mark the occasion. Todd also surprised Nicole with a private tour of the cars from the trilogy, Mr. Cameron! Which he arranged to be interrupted by a recreation of one of its famous scenes.
There's no signature required.
And when they were told to open a special package from the past, she had no idea it contained that crafty car that was actually a ring box.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
You've gave me such a beautiful past and present, and I would like you to continue that into the future. Will you be my wife?
Yes.
A picture from the proposal is now part of their Back to the Future collection, which includes letters from some of the movie's stars wishing the couple the best, but apologizing for not being able to attend their Back to the Future wedding. Nicole and Todd spent almost a year recreating every detail of the film's Enchantment Under the Sea dance. A tribute to a partnership crafted from unconditional love, adorned with devotion, and fastened with fun.
You have to have fun together. You do. If you don't laugh every day, it's not worth it.
Which is why, if Nicole and Todd could actually go back to their future, they'd find themselves living happily ever after. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Nanaimo.
He did such a good job with
Yeah,
that video, right? I know you know what it says. I was listening.
And then the third installment was when we realized we were pregnant. Just so happened that like 3 of the movie stars from Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, and the gentleman who played Biff, Tom Wilson.
Yeah.
We're coming to Calgary to the Calgary Entertainment Expo there.
Yeah.
So we got some signage together and had some little the little Nike booties, and we got them to help us announce our
I know. I should have pulled that picture up, but
so yeah, we pulled up the trilogy, and
yeah,
that's just kind of what we do. We like to have fun. We like to make people laugh and craft and just find silly ways to express our love for each other and stuff, and then the probably the most famous one, well, not probably,
No, but,
the most famous one was the alien
that one
maternity photos.
I can't believe I didn't bring that up. Like that, you can just go online.
Just type in alien maternity, and you'll see our bloody faces.
Let's do it. I gotta go. We'll go to display.
We've basically single-handedly ruined that category for maternity.
Yeah, for maternity photo shoots. Okay, so let's go here. I wonder what audio this is. Is it maternity photo shoot?
No, alien.
Oh, oh yeah.
Or actually, no. If you just
do
type in
photo shoot and see where it comes up.
Maternity photos.
Maternity photo shoot.
Yeah.
It's so.
And then images.
Yeah, you guys are first.
Yeah.
Like it's so wrong.
Yeah.
It's so wrong.
So any photographer is looking for inspiration or expectant mothers is gonna see our.
Oh God, they'll see you guys first. So let's see. Oh, hang on. Let's do this. That's only like we've got that one.
And you just scroll down there and you'll see.
I wonder if I can get it on big screen here. I don't know. Let's see if we're on display capture. Yeah, we've got it a little bit on the side here. So if you scroll down, it has it all in order. Oh my God, can we actually go in order?
Everything from People magazine to Nerdist to Daily Mail, Board Panda, all these internet sites, all these TV shows covered us for a couple weeks there.
This is like the most famous one.
Yeah.
So they did like you guys had millions and millions and millions of hits. You're still doing the burst in Instagram though.
I'm taking a bit of a break from that.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh man, that's just hilarious. I should have had this up on screen. Oh wow, that's so funny. Okay, the other thing that was interesting too was your Big Lebowski.
Favorite comedy of all time is Big Lebowski, and so we just did for my 40th birthday. We recreated 40 different scenes from the movie with some friends and family, and had a big party.
Yeah.
And
so this we go in order. It shows you the actual movie scene. It shows you recreating it. And I mean, in terms of health and wellness, like stuff like this, like if people can do fun things that are silly, that
it's whatever whatever you have passion about. If you have passion for comedic photo shoots, if you have passion for tinkering with cars, or if you have just keeping your hands busy, staying creative, keeping your mind busy. That's to me. That all plays in towards wellness because
it totally does.
Yeah.
And you involved all your friends and.
Yeah.
And look at Donnie.
Yeah.
He's just so great. Like, it's perfect.
I made him grow a beard. Yeah.
You made him grow a beard just for that photo shoot?
I crafted him.
You crafted him? That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Donnie's looks like exactly.
Yeah.
Like, he just nails it. What's the drink that the Lebowski drinks?
White Russian.
White Russian, that's what it is. Oh my God, the carpet. Oh, wow. That's your old place?
Yeah.
Wow, before you... before you did the Life with Nicole. But she was in this, which is great. Oh, God,
Yeah.
Gord with the tongue on the bowling ball. That was so funny.
Yeah. So we've done, lots of different projects and fun recreations and Halloween adventures.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey when he's young. That's my son. There's my daughter being the actual Donnie. Look at that. You guys, oh man. You used a karaoke
Yeah.
sheet. Larry loves karaoke. How does that relate to the story?
They find Larry's homework in the car and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for the, there's so many pictures. Oh yeah, there it is. Nicole actually crafted this outfit herself.
Yeah, and you did
Then
that.
I made that. So it was me and Nicole. That was just so great. Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Amazing.
Like to have fun.
You do like to have fun, I know. Okay. Oh, I did have I made some notes on things that might come up. Okay. Serious topic. So when your dad passed away, that was a critical time in your life.
Yeah.
So there's a number of people I know who also have struggled with somebody passing, and they never can really get their life, back to where it was. I know that it affected you, but can you speak about that and how you coped and how you are now?
I think I was just because I was already in a really good place in my life that when that happened, that I was able to cope. I already had a great amount of ability to let things go and to express gratitude for having a great dad, and I also at that point made amends with my dad for a lot of the things that I put him through.
That's
my
actually
addiction,
important.
And I was asking for money and this and that, and so for the last 3 or 4 years of my dad's life, he got to see me just taking care of myself, not bugging him for stuff, and so that was huge. That I knew that he knew that I was gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And we all have to pass at some point, and
yeah, that's true.
I don't consider that to be the end. It's my own personal. I don't necessarily believe in heaven or whatever prescribed. I don't know what happens, but it doesn't make sense that we came from nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that we go to nothing. So I have a belief that we'll know each other again in some capacity, and
yeah, that's an interesting one. I think that helps a lot of people when people pass, is to have that belief system. I mean, does anybody really know what's beyond this?
No.
But I think that helps in people's passing. What would you say to people who maybe weren't able to make amends?
Oh, there's always a way to make amends. You can write a letter. You can do a living amends where you just change your life, and just to know that person would be proud of you for how you've changed.
That's true. So there's the two factors, right? So let's say somebody's lost their parent, maybe too soon. It's not like old age or whatever. I mean, your dad was a smoker for years.
Yeah.
And lung cancer, unfortunately, is pretty much a death sentence.
Yeah.
So for people who are still smoking out there, please quit. Because it's serious.
Yeah.
You actually quit smoking.
Yeah, I quit smoking a bunch of times, and I think that with my dad passing from lung cancer, that was like the final. That was the final hint or sign. I just thought, like, if I had passed when I was 60 and Raven was still, having kids, if Raven was having kids, or if I had another child, and I were just to die from something that I could have prevented it, I would have felt really foolish and just guilty and shameful. And so I took that as to be, okay, well, now this is going to be the time that you quit for good.
Yeah.
Not just a year. I'd always kind of let it creep back into my life, and I haven't had a cigarette in I think six years or
6 years.
oh,
Yeah.
coming up on 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it would be.
Because the second that I sneak a puff or I have, then I'm gonna be back into smoking a pack a day within a week.
Well, that's exactly, and that's the thing. Like it's do not take the first cigarette.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it's always there.
Yeah.
Once you've become an addict to something, the sensors have been opened, and they're
that first cigarette's
waiting.
gonna be amazing. I'm gonna get high off of it. It's gonna be a rush of all these chemicals to my brain.
Yeah.
And then it's slowly gonna get worse and worse. You know, like less and less, and as I get less and less healthy and stuff. So I've been through that too many times to think. And you know, normally my dad's passing would have caused me to.
Yeah, to relapse in some way.
Yeah.
Like something.
Yeah.
Because we do that. Like when life is tough, sometimes people are grasping for anything to just take the pain. Anything. Yeah. And that's another, like, totally around health and wellness. That's something that everybody deals with. You know, financial difficulties. You know, I know people who are currently going through an eviction right now and, you know, and struggling in that way.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, I guess, having that perspective and having that healthy attitude around what's going on. I mean, what do you say to people who are losing their home? You know, maybe can't totally relate, but I know you've had struggles in that way before, where maybe rent hasn't been paid, or, you know, what do you say to them? How should they deal with that? How do they get around that?
I'm not sure if I'm really in a position to give advice to people on how to live their life and stuff, but just take the next step is all you can do, and just try not to get bogged down in stress or worry. Take a couple hours if you need and sulk or whatever, and then set a deadline and just, okay, well, what I need to do, I need to either fight this eviction or whatever the thing is, or I need to start looking for places, I need to start cleaning, pack a few boxes, do one thing a day or whatever.
Just the next
thing in front of you.
Next thing in front of you.
And before you know it, you start taking steps for yourself. The right answer, the right thing will come to you, or it'll be presented to you. That's how it's always happened in my life. So,
what do you think of, you're talking about a living amends, and I think most people probably don't know what that is. So let's say, I'm just going back to this because whatever comes to mind, I'm just talking about. So somebody dies, that there's two things that can happen that leave emotions lingering that I'm thinking of. One is that the person who's still living has done some really, they'll say, shitty things to that person who died. And they're like, oh no, I never got to make amends. I never got to say sorry. And they're living with guilt and shame, which can destroy a person.
Right.
And I want everybody to live the best, healthiest life that they can live. And that's something that can be dealt with what you called a living amends. So can we think of examples to explain that to someone if they happen to be watching or listening?
Well, I think most people think of like saying sorry is much different than an amends. Saying sorry, we've all said sorry and then
screwed up
done
again.
the same thing again.
Yeah.
And so saying sorry doesn't really mean that much unless there's something behind it, which is a change in action, or a change in who you are, how you deal with things, how you greet life. And so a living amends to me would just be changing the way that you live, and to know that that person who's gone would be proud of who
you are,
and feel better about, to know that you felt bad enough about
that you made a change.
They made a change.
That's significant. I think that there's a lot of people who you know, they spend a portion of their lives intentionally hurting. Maybe not everybody's intentionally hurting, but it's something for their own gain.
Yeah.
They know they're hurting another person.
No, I don't think anyone goes out of their way to be a bad person. Things happen that will turn someone, maybe. There are probably true psychopaths out there, or narcissists and such, but I'd say 99% of people are just trying to find some happiness and some peace. And sometimes people get it through healthy ways, and sometimes people get it through hurting others.
Yeah.
And
I wonder why people hurt other people. That if you're really just, I mean, you don't need to pause on it and think about it, but
yeah.
I mean, that's something that I don't know how people will get out of that if they've had the same mentality for a long time. Like let's say people who use people on a regular basis, and they're just so used to doing that, and at this point, let's say they have no friends.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this happen, and I'm often I run into these people because I'm very compassionate, and then they may sort of want something from me, and I might help them once, and then I have to put up a boundary and go, well, no, I got to take care of me. But they have no friends because they've been doing this cycle for so long.
People get caught in their cycles, and you either need to change it. You need to stop that cycle, and that's not an easy thing to do. You either need professional help, or you need, if you have a problem with addiction, or you need recovery, something.
Yeah.
Some process where you take an introspective look at your life and your past.
Yeah.
And you sort things out, and you realize, and once you start to see why you do things, it's much easier to change them. If you're just doing them unconsciously, it's much more difficult. And same thing, one foot out in front of the other. You start doing one small thing a day that makes you feel like a better person than those negative actions, and build on that.
What do you think when you made those changes? Honestly, you've always had a good heart, and you've always been a person who's been, in many, many ways, a good friend. There were maybe some little things you did here and there, but I mean, I don't think you were so far in the immoral hole that it was that you were drowning.
Right.
But what's something that you can say you definitely made a change on and you've been able to stick to since 7 years ago you started really making changes?
Mm-hmm. Well, just financially, always being able to take care of myself, and not begging or asking family members for help, because I felt I was owed something. I pay all my own bills now. I take care of the debts that I have accrued over the years, all on my own. I'm loyal to, more loyal to my friends and to my relationship.
There's a lot of changes.
I practice. I have a sense of gratitude of looking at what I do have rather than what I don't have.
I think that's actually like
gratitude is the biggest thing in my in my life. It's the biggest. It's the most powerful force of just, looking at what your life and what you do have. You might have lost your job today, but you're still living in the top 5% of the world as far as like economic prosperity and social programs that Canada has. Or
Canada's amazing. I know. I've had a lot of viewers from the United States, and I'm really sad.
But even just living in the United States, you're still, you don't live in a third world country. You still have access to
clean water,
and normally you still have a place to live. If you don't, there's something else you might have a connection or a friendship that someone else might not have, and so it doesn't mean you just look at the world through rose-colored glasses, but you appreciate what you have, and then if you don't like something in your life that isn't quite right, you make steps to change it.
Yeah, and just one small step at a time is like that. I think that's the key. See, I wondered what would happen here if I just started talking, and then like little golden moments come out, and I think what I would love to take away from today, a reminder for me, and I do this quite often, I learned this, of course, about 7 years ago, is anybody at any time can actually be grateful for something.
Yeah.
And you know about my struggles. Mental health issues have been a big part, and you haven't experienced that so much. And so I'll be getting into that with some other people who come. But even in the darkest moment, I can still, even if it seems silly or stupid, it begins to help. Like, I'm having a cup of coffee. I'm thankful for this cup of coffee because I like it.
Yeah.
I like the way it tastes. And it's amazing how something simple like that can start, oh, well, what else am I thankful for? And you think, maybe you just think it's stupid or something, and I'm sitting at a beach and I'm like, I'm thankful that I'm sitting at a beach with the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I have, 10 fingers and 10 toes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
You can. So that's something like if anybody does happen to listen to this or watch this, that's a bit of inspiration. Like every day, if you're struggling, simple way to start your health and wellness is to just say one thing that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
Because maybe getting up and exercising and going out for a run isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
For me, I struggle with fibromyalgia. Walk to the end of the block and back if you can.
Yeah.
Or just take a step out of your house and back in. But it's the next little steps, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. I think we made it an hour.
Yeah.
I told you, you're like, I don't think I have an hour to talk about, but I think you do. I think you do. So we had a few people in and out. We had one troll, which I expected. I expected a troll.
That.
I
Yeah.
know. And you have a
Troll
friend
in the
named
dungeon.
Troll. What?
Troll in the dungeon.
Troll in the dungeon. We should call it the dungeon. But I'm not weird enough to have a dungeon. That's a whole other topic. I might have somebody on who does have a dungeon. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll do that. Next week, Monday at noon, I have Donna coming. And she's going to talk about her life, which has been lots of ups and downs. And there have been some things that have worked for her and things that haven't. Also, she likes to do psychic things sometimes. So I might get that. And I actually might get her to sing a song.
Yeah, great singer.
She is a great singer. You've been a karaoke host for... You're actually a great singer, too. Which we could have set up today, but we didn't.
I don't think we have time for that today.
We don't have time for that today. Maybe another time. We'll just get friends over to sing. My friends can sing. All right, well, this was my first episode, so I'm still learning. And I think I did okay.
Yep, did great.
Yay. Okay, everybody.
Tune in next week. So tune in next week for the Undercat.
Tune in next week. Andrea the Undercat interviews people about health and wellness, strength, courage, and inspiration. Bye.